Hey everybody, welcome into the Beehive. I'm your host, the Bee at LLC, and this is where we stack precious metals like it's pollen and nectar. Our pollen is silver and our nectar is gold, preserving our wealth is honey of old. And like ancient metals, we hold our own. And today I want to talk a little bit about this new, we're calling it the Osmium Window Guide, I guess is what I titled this. And it's going to be about osmium, crystalline osmium. And I got my fellow Institute partner here with me to help me go over this. In fact, we created this together. This has been a long, ongoing project between myself and Mr. New Mexico / Arizona Institute partner, Space Miner. Welcome in, Space Miner. How's it going?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it here. I'm gonna try to also do a couple things at once there. All right, so we are looking at the Osmium Window Guide, and like a window to your heart, we are looking at the window into osmium, and it has captured my heart. So I guess it all works. Um, So when we got started in osmium, you learn all about it, and one of the first thing that comes to mind when you get into crystalline osmium is different sparkle grades. And when you hear that there are different sparkle grades, the first thing that comes to mind is, what are they? And you would like to know what are the different sparkle grades so that you can wrap your mind around your different options within crystalline osmium. So with that in mind, me and Space Miner decided we needed to sit down and come up with something that would give people a window into osmium and a look at all the different sparkle grades and how they work, how they look, and the differences between them. So we are going to zoom in on this a bit. We've got Jonathan Brighton. Welcome in. Good to see you. Welcome in. And I'm going to go ahead and
Yeah,
zoom.
that's dope. Three's a really good strong figure to hit, man. That's good job, by the way. Hey, happy.
Happy Stacker. Good to see you. So let me see if I can zoom in a bit here and get a good look at it.
Yeah, drop me off for a second.
Okay, I'll go ahead and pull up full screen so we can get a glance here at what we got going. So this is the main idea. Now, this is just a prototype and a work in progress. There's going to be quite a bit more to come to this product, but we wanted to just do a little review on the basics, and this is the basic idea here, in which you can look and see each different sparkle grade. So there's 5 sparkle grades. So you got sparkle grade 1 here in this slot here, sparkle grade 2 right here, sparkle grade 3, sparkle grade 4, sparkle grade 5. Now, I put this tool together yesterday, and I put it too deep down into the base. I have different gaskets to hold everything in place so that it's not touching the plastic. And in doing so, I set them too deep in figuring out how many gaskets I needed. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take this tool apart, or this window apart, and I'm going to pull the pieces of osmium out, bring them up to the face so that we can get a good look at them and they're not sunk too far down in there. And while I'm doing that, we're going to talk about, some of the ins and outs of osmium and why you might want a different sparkle grade, what is the differences in the sparkle grade, what we're finding now that we're into the process of crystalline osmium and moving throughout the world, and the first rarities that we're running into. And so we'll get into that as we tear this thing apart and put it back together. So I'm going to bring Space Miner, back up in here and get on taking this apart. So let me adjust my camera.
I like how you brought that in. Some rarities presenting themselves. It's
Yeah.
happening already, isn't it? Already,
Yes, a little bit
already
faster than
there,
we
dude.
were planning.
Yeah, that it happened. Like I didn't think it would go that quick, man. Like I
Yeah,
kind of really thought we had another year or two before these types of effects started to occur. But
I concur with that statement.
yeah, and
In
when you're
fact,
ready, you could talk about it. But
yeah,
Ozzy, welcome in.
Osmi Safe, welcome in. Good to see you. Yeah, we can go ahead and get into it a little bit. With working with the Osmium Institute and putting this together, we went back and forth quite a bit on ideas and products and cuts and this and that, and didn't really realize we were running into what we've now run into until just about a week ago when I finally got the official word that there is no longer any sparkle grade 1 osmium available to be cut and distributed.
That's it.
So the sparkle grade 1 that exists and is available has already been cut, is either sold and out in the world in public, people already hold it, known it, or there's a few pieces left in some different areas. We'll probably show those today, and we'll also talk about your chances to get one, why you might be interested in securing something personal, and yeah, a little bit more detail about that. But I'll let Space Miner take over while I'm taking this apart from here. Go ahead, Space Miner.
All right. So, with that being said, Sparkle One having been mostly distributed, I'm going to take a second and clap and cheer, woohoo, because that's good news. It means that a good portion of the market has answered. And this is exactly where we've been waiting for Osmium to land this whole time in private in a fully privatized form, where it's the customers that are controlling this, where it's the customers that are moving this, where it's the customers that are making these rarities. And now we've got this whole generation of Sparkle One being bought up in private hands now. We don't have any say of the price here, of that Sparkle One. We don't determine its value anymore. Somebody else does. And if they say it's worth more than spot, well, it's worth more than spot, you know? And that's something we as institute members, you're getting the best value we can possibly give you. But the next guy down the road might not. Like here's a good example of what's going on here. These Sparkle Ones, they're a bit thinner. Well, most likely, I'm guessing that there's watch companies probably buying up some of these, and private guys seeing the market of watch companies wanting these. I bet that would account for a significant portion of Sparkle One being pulled out. Either the watch company said, yes, I want to use this, or I have plans to use this, or somebody else said, hey, I bet a watch company would want to use this, or the watch companies are planning to use this. And both of these people get in, well, Sparkle One's gone. Next up, Sparkle 2, right? I don't know. It could be like an issue of price accessibility. You get a lower sparkles, lower sparkle number, is going to be a less weightier piece per area, so you can get the same area in a couple different sparkles, which means you're getting a couple different thicknesses or weights within it, right? So price accessibility um, can be a determiner of this. But the point is that this is exactly where we wanted it to be the whole time. And this is fantastic because this is where the values really start getting claimed. This is where the rarities start popping up. And here we are, Sparkle One's already becoming difficult to get from our side, right? Now, out in the world, it could be abundant in the right hands, you know.
Yeah, and wanted it to get here in a sense. Yes, I wanted to buy a sufficient amount of Sparkle Grade 1s to implement this tool with no issues. However, and that's how we came to this understanding, is through the communications we had with the Osmium Institute and them working on making cuts for this and eventually coming back to let me know that we are actually unable to any longer produce Sparkle Grade 1 and
Jonathan,
distribute it. So,
Jonathan, where can you get these? Well, I'm the New Mexico and Arizona Institute, and B here is the Colorado Institute. Depending on where you're located, we'd most likely just set you up with one of your regional guys. Um, so maybe let us know where you're at, and we could set you up with the right person, or it's always available through one of us. You can additionally you can go online and you can purchase through there. You can also use one of our dealer codes, um, and just just to help us see what areas are moving. But the best way near Dallas, we got a guy Barry. He's our Texas Institute. So um, yeah, make contact with either myself or be here. Any one of us would be happy to deal with you, and get you in line for future business with Barry down in Texas. And he's right down there. He's not far from you. He's probably only a few hours from you at most.
yeah,
So
and if you hang out here a bit, we'll be going on to the Osmium Institute itself and looking at some of these Sparkle Grade 1 examples we have left and talking some details there as well. So,
welcome in. Thank you.
greetings, think differently.
Sorry to
And
interrupt you, B. I just wanted to
no,
get
you're
that
good. You're
for
good.
you.
No.
You know,
So right now, I am removing gaskets from this Osmium window guide, and these gaskets are something I cut just of late, and so this is part of the process of fielding these within the Osmium window guide, and without having them touch the plastic or the acrylic, I guess is what this is, and causing any type of damage to the acrylic. So these silicone gaskets are, cut out, and we're using these as separators. And so right now, that's what I'm doing, removing some of these gaskets so that we can bring the osmium up to the face, the front of the window, so it's not so set into it. Um, so it's got me a little bit distracted by just working on removing these, but we will get these repositioned and get into it a little further. So during the meantime, hopefully Space Miner can answer any questions that are popping up.
I'd be happy to. I was gonna put a link, but it's easier for me to just dango type it. Just to kind of get him ahead if he wants to start pecking around. Um, yeah, just buy-osmium.com, and that's where we're going to be sorting through this.
And of
Um,
course, you get a better
well,
deal if you go through one of us here in the States that already has it pulled through customs and shipping and all the different things that you go through to get this into the States. And that's part of what our us institutes work with the Osmium Institute Germany to eliminate some of that hassle and get you a good discounted deal and whatnot. So, um,
yeah, our job is import and insure and educate and distribute and um, Yeah, like he's saying, save you all the trouble. These are all things we just absorb. We absorb, and then so that you don't worry about this. Now, if you got like a real big order, it would go through the institute directly, anyways. So,
So, an Osmium Connect, welcome in. I think I know who that is, but it looks like you've got a new handle if I'm thinking right. If you're someone new, let me know, but I think I know who you are. If
yeah.
not, welcome in.
If this is who
This
we think it is, Southern California in the house. So,
Okay, yep. And this tool here is also a very useful tool when working with these crystalline osmium pieces. This tool was brought to my attention by Mr. Space Miner himself, and it becomes very useful when in cases like this where I need to go in, get the piece of osmium. I'm gonna just move it over here to this area while I make ready to reset it. So let me try this here. There we go. So yeah, so it's got a silicon tip that is will grab the piece, but there will be no sticky residue left on it. So it makes it quite handy. Just reach in, grab it, and drop it in over here. And same with the next one. Makes it quite easy as opposed to doing this without it. It would not look so easy. Hopefully you guys are seeing that. Last but not least, we got the B set in there. Okay, so we've got down to the base silicon dividers, or let's see, gaskets, I guess we're referring to them as.
okay, that link I just put into chat, um, that's Barry down in Texas. Um, and so, Jonathan, if you click on that link, that'll give you an introduction to him. And I'm betting all his contacts info's on there. He's pretty good about that stuff. So just so you know. All right, where were you, buddy? I'm sorry.
Sounds like no, I was just reading the comments. Sounds like one of our fellows in California is going to be receiving some osmium stock as well. So that's cool.
You want us to shout you out by name? Connect.
Or if you want to just jump up here live with us, I can send you over a link.
Yep, you're welcome in, of course. That might be a better way to just shout yourself out. Or you could shout yourself out in chat. You can just shout at nothing. I don't really care.
You can just shout if you want to.
Yeah. So,
How much are pieces like that run roughly? I don't know about the sizes. I've seen disc cool things. I'll check his channel out. So yeah, yeah, we're going to get into that. So that's part of what this tool, we made this tool for, is to help people wrap their mind around the differences in crystalline osmium, the different grades, the different sparkle grades, and about the difference in weight costs of the different sparkle grades, why you would want a certain grade over the other. And all the grades are is simply the size of the crystal structure and how much metal is there. So it's actually grown, like, like they say, each snowflake, it has a unique crystalline structure, the same as with this product. It is grown from a crystalline structure, and as that crystal structure grows, it starts at a sparkle grade 1. If it grows, if they leave it to grow a bit more, it reaches a 2, and then it grows a bit more and reaches a sparkle grade 3. It grows a bit more to a 4, and eventually it'll grow up to a 5, which is about as high as they go on growth. And so not only does it look a little bit different in coarseness, the size of the crystals or pyramidal structures get bigger, larger, making the reflective window a little bit larger. Or if you just keep it with the original Sparkle Grade 1 small amount of growth, you will get a very even, smooth, kind of like I like to think of it as a fresh snowfall, and you look out across the meadow, and there's just this beautiful snow sheen, smooth, reflective, millions and millions of sparkle points. That's kind of what a Sparkle Grade 1 looks like as it moves up through the scale. It is sold by the gram. So as silver or gold is sold by the ounce, crystalline osmium is sold by the gram because it is not only is it the most dense material naturally occurring known to man and the hardest, one of the hardest, definitely the hardest metal. Um, it's sold by the gram because of its value density. 1 gram right now is selling for about $2,400. But you can get like a piece like this, like my B that I pulled out last, that letter that's a B, that's in a Sparkle Grade 1. That would just be 150, $200 depending on the size of the piece. So you can get pieces that start at like probably $30 nowadays, 30, $40, all the way up to a disc in your hand that can buy a house, a couple hundred grand. So yeah, there's a large variation there. We'll get more into pricing as we move along. In fact, I want to price out each piece in this osmium window guide and see what the whole piece, once finished, comes out to. And so you'll get to see what each piece costs. And that's part of it. Eventually, when this gets fully released, you will get to see the difference in cost by the Sparkle grade. So that's kind of part of what we're covering here with this tool, is give people a good idea of what the differences are in the Sparkle grade and what the cost differences are, and some more info. But I'll go ahead, take over there, Space Miner. Got to focus in here for a minute.
I'm back. All right. So now this goes right back. These questions that are being offered. Well, by the way, wait, before I say anything real quick, Osmium Connect is Nick Bermudez, and he's out in Southern California, and his jewelry line is Aragon, which is a dope jewelry line name. And he's been working heavily with Osmium, and he's doing a great job. He sold some pieces already a couple times. Every time we've gone to that show, he's selling his jewelry, which I think is awesome.
Which was the New Orleans Investment Conference, is what we're
Yeah,
referring to. We just got back
not a
from the New
little
Orleans
show,
Investment
mind
Conference.
you.
Right. It's one of the probably the longest running investment precious metals conference, and the biggest probably in the States. It's been running basically since they shut the gold window, because they knew we would end up in this place where we are today, where the metals are becoming very important again. So
Yeah. And that was year 51, and that was year 2 for us, 2 in a row for us. Um, so that was really cool. But so back to the tool, right? We receive, in our experience, we've received a lot of questions. Okay. And they pretty much all boil down to a couple basics. Okay. Well, so we got together and we sat and we brainstormed this, and we said, what are all these questions, and how do we answer these in one presentation, in one simplified? Because we really wanted to make this easy to digest, easy to consume, easy to understand, which we thought would lend, a education to our customer, which is, I love education, so that was important to me. But B, lend some confidence in your purchasing capabilities and nailing your purchase just right. Because, like B was saying here, it's not that this is a difficult metal to shop. It's not. In fact, it's quite simple. It just so happens to be one of the most personable precious metals out there. Um, there's there's a large variety of choices that you can personalize your metal purchase through, whether it be through investment or you just want something shiny. If you're an element collector, you're going to put it into a watch or jewelry, or some other creative application, right? Um, it just there's a million ways to sort it, but the basics of this are real simple. So among those, like, what's the difference in the sparkle grades? How much do these cost? What's the weight like? And well, right away in this, just with what we see right here, you see the front, you see the back, you see the side. These are like three questions we get. Um, then you see the sparkle grade differences, which is another question we get. But inherently, while you observe the difference in sparkle qualities or sparkle attributes, I'd rather say at this time, between a 1 and a 5, you start seeing also like the more obvious things like weight differences, price differences, and so this will help you visualize it just by looking at a small window display. It does become like really quite obvious as when you see this in person. It's one of the most difficult metals I've ever experienced trying to film and capture. Um, just because there's so many points of light and so many depths and angles going on that it really is a lot of fun. But so again, the sparkle tool, right away, you see the front, you see all the crystalline nature of it, you see what the backside looks like because people are curious. Well, what's the back like? Which also helps the jewelers understand what they'll need to be able to use this, right? You see the sides of it, which helps people get an understanding of like its anti-counterfeit measures, because part of it being thin is a anti-counterfeit measure. You can't pack a little thin wafer full of anything, you know, that that's going to be meaningful. And I mean, what are you going to pack it full of? Gold? You know, well, that's silly. Why would you pack it full of something worth less, just to throw off your volumes? And never mind, that's a whole nother security feature. But you got all these questions answered, boom, right away. Thicknesses, weights, um, and then inherently the prices will graduate with the weight, so um, once, and then we're going to have like a whole information card that'll have like the OICs, it'll have the QR codes. So literally you'll just be able to scan that and look at the price that day. I mean, we have the Osmium app built for it, an Osmium app built just for that, where you can scan it, you can input all your pieces into. It's really pretty fun. But this tool was necessary so people could just see it all at once. By the time you get through the explanation, you're ready to make your selection if you want, you know? And
Yeah,
so,
yep, this should take all your questions away as far as, you know, your variation and direct you right to your desired outcome is kind of the idea here. Because when you first hear about, okay, there's 5 different sparkle grades, and you're probably looking at one, like they'll show you, okay, here's a sparkle grade 2, or how I was introduced to it is, okay, this is a sparkle grade 2. It's like, oh, so there's more than one? They're like, yeah, there's 5 different sparkle grades. Well, you might want the 2 anyway, but until you see the other 4, how will you know? So this is answering that question right out the gate. All
yeah.
right, now I gotta try to do the tough part on screen. There we go.
Yeah, that tool really makes all the world of difference. It just changes everything. Well, I'm telling you, it does. But No, I was really excited. I think it's going to be like a fun little, um, if I was like an investor collector kind of guy, this would be a good one to shoot at. Like, well, if you're going to sink your teeth into it, this would be a great way. It's a diversity of investment. It's a diversity of fungibility. It's a great display. Everything's in one place. Um, you know, and we got a little bit of fine tuning on the product, but by the time it's released, everything will be super secure, stable. Everything free floats, so it doesn't make any contact with the acrylic. Everything's marked with its OIC and its QR codes, and like these are going to be a lot of fun. I think. You know,
So yeah, I just got to get this somewhat placed right, which is the hard part about this. But once I get it there,
appreciate you, Connect. Thank you. Now we are a team. That's what's kind of cool about the institute that differs from a lot of these institutions. Is that like everybody here is picked for ethical qualities because you go through a series of training and testing just to be part of the institute. You got to you got to take tests just to represent. And then after that they expect education. They expect regular education. you know and and it's a diversity of educations that we receive, and everybody's picked for their ethical and creative qualities. Everybody's with we we as the institute are driven primarily on an ethical basis. Like, look, we just want to make it understandable and relatable. This is brand new to everybody. This is like rhodium time 2.0. This is platinum 2.0. This is palladium 2.0. It's however you want to look at it. It's our generation's, this living generation's last opportunity to gain early entry into a precious metal trade. It really is simple. It's rarest naturally occurring stable element on earth. Like, that drop right there. You could, and I know there's people that are like, well, rarity doesn't equal fungibility, and rarity doesn't equal value. And while these are real good in, like, these anecdotal usages, they're the market's always been held high regard for rarity. Whether it be now or later, you know rarity is rarity, and this is a metal that's already being used. It's been being used for a while. It's just now it's in a stable, safe, non-allergenic form, ready to use application. Crystalline osmium, unlike your gold bar, you know you can go get your gold bar, go ahead, right? But if you want to do something other than stick it in a box and forget about it until it's time to go cash it out, like, if you really want to do something about it, you're going to have to input all this extra energy, whether it be a chain or a ring or a bracelet or an earring that you want, or a golden platter. I don't know. You're going to have to input energy, which means it's going to cost you something extra. You're still going to have to do something with your gold. You're still going to have to do something with your platinum. And nobody, platinum jewelers are hard to find, you know? And this is a precious metal that's it's the rarest of all the precious metals, hands down. And, and it's a high value density that's ready to use, like ready to be applied, quite simply. I mean, and from everything from crimping, clasping, um, you know, clasping, crimping, pinching, folding, cavity setting. We look like bees. Osmium load here. His silver bullets, his stingers, that's cavity setting. My rounds are a cavity setting. A lot of the jewelry is like clasping, and it's just ready to use. You don't have to input any energy. You just pick the shape you want, pick the thinness, pick the sparkle quality, pick the weight. There it is. And you're on your way to using it. Watchmakers love it because, like a lot of watchmakers, man, they pop a hole through the center and they're done, you know? But it looks gorgeous in their watches. You know, some guys, they order custom cuts. You know, but after that, all you have to do is mount it. All you need is a flat back surface. That's it. If you can back it up with something good, that's it. You know, if you can secure it, congratulations. Which I think it's an ultra unique usage of precious metal. I don't think most precious metals offer you that. You know, we'll come to think of it like gold nugget. People do go like gold nugget necklaces and stuff. I've seen that. But, you know, yeah, you found a natural globity gloop, but this is a lot different than a globity gloop. You know, this is a crystalline surface, like B said, a unique snowflake with 10,000 times more recognition factors than your fingerprint per square millimeter. And he uses 3 millimeter diameter diamond cuts in his bullets. That's roughly 30,000 times more recognizability and verifiability, you know, than your fingerprint. Well, what's your gold globity gloop going to do for you? How are you going to verify that your globity gloop is not the same globity gloop as that guy's globity gloop? You know? So I hope this is making sense. But this was really supposed to be about the sparkle tool, but man, now I'm like incensed about, you know, the I think I'm kind of reacting to some of the kickback we get about, like, you know, the issues with osmium, but like B pointed out the other night wisely, all the issues with osmium we're seeing is all the benefits. You know, this is a philosophical and fundamental investment difference in characters and attitudes. I mean, this is we're different investment mindsets than some other guys are, and you know, you just have to treat this differently. Just the same way, look, the same way you treat your silver and gold differently, right? You're going to get different guys at different stores that give you different rates. You know, depending on how you mush this silver, might get you 10 more bucks than how you mush it this way, you know? And so, you know, gold isn't like people's cry liquidity, but liquidity is not a real thing for everybody. There's a lot of areas that are in the precious metals world quite segregated from the world. You know, they don't have a local coin shop for 500 miles. You know, that's like a reality. They don't, you know, the best they'll get is a pawn shop that'll give you 60% of value on a good day, you know, and there's a reason people scoff at tangible precious metals. But these are the people that scoff are oftentimes making poor investment choices according to their lifestyle, you know, because everybody's got to treat their entry and their exit differently. You know, I don't have the same entries, nor do I have the same exits as B has, you know, and he doesn't have the same thing as some of these other YouTubers. Some of these guys have 4 or 5 coin shops in the neighborhood. Coin shops. We're not even talking precious metals dealers. We're talking just coin shops.
So yes, and I just looked up here and read this by OsmiSafe. Good call. But then there's Brian here. Why don't you jump in on this question? This is true, but also untrue. It's kind of both ways. For one thing, I'd like to point out, and then I'll let Space Miner take over. This is a new metal. It was only discovered a couple hundred years ago. So 1800 was the first time anyone ever realized that this was even a metal. And since then, that's been used in several different unique applications: light bulbs, record needles, different applications like that. But nowadays, it's kind of across the gamut, and we're working on some new possibilities. But already in use are. Go ahead, Space Miner. Get into some of its use cases while I jump in.
Oh my, osmium's pretty great. Alloys, yeah, alloys is one of its primary uses, but I don't want to downplay the use of the osmium alloy. Like when people go to osmium alloys, it's because they're trying to overcome extreme environments, and there are extreme environments out there. Like one of them is like marine bearings, like everything from the shipyard bearings, the ones that they roll them off with, to the actual bearings on those, you know, 20, 30, 40 ton props, you know. Um, it's the platinum group metals that are going to protect you mostly. Your platinum group metals and your alloys, these are the ones mostly that are put in there for your corrosion resistance. Salt water plus cavitation plus extreme heat and weight. I mean, these guys need osmium to solve this. Our fleet is full of osmium alloy bearings. It's also full of osmium alloy framing, like in a lot of our stealth fighters, you know, and plus a lot of our high power electrical connections and like exposed electrical connections. Like for example, you know, whenever they're running these thrusters in the air at crazy hot degrees, well, this becomes acidic air. It literally produces acidic gas. And these wires and these bearings and these different components, they live in these highly acidic zones. And so, you know, when you're talking about electricity running at high voltages and high amperages, you know, and in these extreme environments, you need osmium. But it's also used heavily in the medical field. Biological staining is one of the main things. Also, backgrounds and windows, what they call windows, um, which allow protons or neutrons or electrons through, and they'll block other things, right? But like osmium's used for those. Osmium's was used on the space shuttle windows. It's like gamma resistance, gamma ray resistance, and again with the acidity, again with the high temperatures. So it's used there. It's used in telescopy, microscopy, because it's so dense that anything that streaks across osmium can be distinguished easily, because osmium's a real steady background. Um, Man, but so our applications of them, yeah, back in 1900s, sure, we were using them for filaments and record needles, but look how our machines were built in those days too. We don't use technology like we do in the 1900s anymore. you
Except
know
I still want some osmium record needles, but that's just me, I think. So
yeah,
that'd go good with those osmium headphones. If you
yeah.
haven't seen the osmium headphones, go to my lives and type in Osmium Symposium Denver, and you'll see some very nice osmium headphones.
Yeah, those things were
My,
dope.
my DJ set from that night.
But just to kind of like refocus on the crystallized osmium for a second, this also represents the technological era that we're in. Osmium is not limited to these hard functions. Okay, we're in a modern era where thin layer deposition is a way of life, guys. These are our microchips. These are our circuits and micro capacitors and flexible capacitors and la da da and on and on. But it's done through thin layer depositions, and it's done through like, and it's done through thermal depositions, and it's done through sputtering, and it's done through chemical vapor depositions, and it's done through all these processes. Where guess what? This challenge that they used to bring us, well, even if uh, we had uses for osmium that we wanted to, it's so rare that we can't use it for those. That's true in a lot of environments. We'll never have enough to build a whole submarine, you know, but
That would
on
be
that note,
expensive
it's
submarine.
plenty available for the use of thin layer deposition. But as this becomes easier to produce technology, and it already is, it'll start being produced in mass. Okay. Which means when it's being produced in mass and lots of guys are using these technologies, and now it is needed, well, now this has become a competitive resource and they need to know that it's pure. How many stable forms of osmium are you going to invest in, or precious metals are going to be that valuable? Well, and I'll tell you something about platinum group metals. Most of the time, where platinum group metals serve, it's because there's not a replacement for this metal. What else are you going to use? Or it's just such a ridiculous consumption of another material that you'd be an idiot not to just pay the extra buck and use a platinum group, you know?
That's
And,
Jonathan here. You hit it on the head. With new tech, there will be new use for all the precious metals. Even gold is finding new use. That's it. And that's what the biggest. And I've talked to some big names in investing that know metals and mining and the whole industry pretty well. And I've talked to them about this, and their biggest pushback is, well, there's not enough wide scope industry usage yet
yeah,
that I would commit to it. And I to me that's like he was saying earlier, is the same place you find your advantage is in that risk. It's a new metal, and yes, we're just figuring out the unique attributes of osmium, and it's um, very unique. It's the densest of all the metals, one of the most noble of all the metals, if not the most. And
mhm.
so, when in a whole host of it's the most more abrasion resistant than diamond. So, like,
Compression
when you
resistant
start
for the
going
blue.
through the list of unique attributes for this metal, let alone it's the rarest natural occurring element known to man, that there
And
will
it's blue.
and it's a beautiful blue hue to it. There will be use cases for it, aside from it already being quite valuable just for the jewelry slash investment slash use cases that it's already used for.
And stop there, right there. Pause that, because that's a perfect remark to make about that. Like, I don't know why people have this tendency to dismiss jewelry as an industry. Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's a figure of about 70% fluctuating, okay, of the world's gold is tied up in jewelry. Like, that's insane. That's a lot of gold tied up in jewelry. Tell me that's not a market. Tell me that's not an industry, you know? So, if we're considering jewelry a actual industry or an actual industry, then the use of osmium in jewelry and watches, which it's already shown itself to have through major contributors and major names in the game, well, then it is already successful and it already has established use case in industry, jewelry industry. Uh, there's no doubting that the jewelry industry is a very valuable industry. In fact, watches, Rolex in particular, was one of the top, most stable, and profitable companies to be invested in, like a Rolex investment in a Rolex. This watch that you buy was one of the most stable and profitable investments throughout our entire nation's market for years and decades. It maintained and increased in value. It was a good investment. People still consider them good investments. People still make a lot of money on them. These are real.
Welcome in, welcome in, Joseph from 3D Woodworks, and anybody else that I've missed. Sorry, there's Jake's custom. I see you. Jake, welcome in. Good to see you. Sorry if I missed you. I'm just a little distracted here, but
I don't want anybody to think I'm like trying to like tear at their arguments, because like, listen, these are real issues of real concern. These are real questions without answers. Okay. And we're just trying to answer them now. Okay. We're just trying to respond to this now. Um, nobody's trying to like insult anybody because they have a challenge, but it seems reasonable that we would want to answer some of these challenges, you know, and say, hey, we might have an answer for that. We might have an opinion there, you know, and and we think that Osmium meets every precious metals investment box you want to check, and then it adds a few more. That's what some of us would argue.
in fact, it was given to a university to study it, and they determined at the end of their study that it is a complete new investment class all on its own, because it is ticks so many boxes that a precious metal like gold, silver, platinum, it ticks all those boxes, but then it adds a whole nother category of boxes to tick. So yeah, it's very intriguing for sure.
Yeah, everybody knows that gold is worth something, okay? But everybody also knows when you smush it, then it becomes worth a little more. But when you smush it with a little bit more detail, now it's worth even more, you know? There's going to be a difference in the market between like your arc beads, like you were mentioning earlier, not UB, but like was being mentioned earlier, the arc beads. Um, he's been invested in those. There's a price jump between an arc bead and and crystalline osmium, and it's that same work that takes your gold nugget and makes it into a Cuban. You know, it's just done already. But in this form, it's completely stable, completely inert. I mean, no acid, no alkaline, hot or cold is going to affect your metal. It's going to be stable until like 500 degrees Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit, what, roughly 900 or something, 900 degrees Fahrenheit or more. Like, and then it's not going to melt. It's just going to oxidize for like 1 second, poof, and then that's it. It's going to be even more stable and resistant to its environment. You know, it's a great tool of investment in the sense that like you can track it, you can show that it's in fact authentic, you can show that it's yours, it comes with your authenticity and ownership, and a lockout code on those figures, so nobody can just say, hey, that was my piece. you know um, that's a whole nother video in itself, the identifications and lockouts, but
Yeah, let's touch on that briefly. Is so
okay,
like we were saying, each piece is grown in a crystal formation. So like as a snowflake crystallizes, it has its own unique crystalline structure. So is with each piece of osmium. So, and each piece of osmium's crystalline structure has 10,000 plus more identification points than your fingerprint would have identification points. And the further you zoom in, the more points they are to measure. And they use high end microscopes to log and photograph and enter into their database. And then they get once it's photographed, cut, and in its final form, they attach an OIC, which stands for Osmium Identification Code, and that is a built-in identification code in each piece that then is entered into the Osmium Institute database, Germany, and that code is also registered with every country's customs, so that as this metal transfers from one country to another, the customs knows exactly what they're dealing with. So I'll stop there.
Yeah. One of the things that really appealed to me initially whenever I started first investing in this was that authenticity and security of purchase. Like there's the piece, there's its code, right? And you can see all the values of it. And you weren't just picking some piece, getting some random piece of silver. They're saying, hey, you're getting this very coin here, you know? And it's not like that when you order from one of these bullions, You say, I'll pick 10 of those and you hope that they give you the good one, the one you like, right? That's what you hope. But it's not that way with Osmium. I mean, you can literally pick and sort through them. You can put in these identifiers and literally say, I like that crystal formation or I don't. But when it gets to your hands, you can look at it, like literally look at the piece, then look at the same picture that was online, and say, yes, this is in fact that very same piece, you know. Oh, look at that go. Beautiful. Oh, and it comes through so clearly.
Let me pull up to full screen so people can see it for a
Yeah, please
second.
do. Oh yeah, hit that again. About a put about a 30-degree angle on your light. That is incredible. So I refer to these as constellations, and what you're looking at there is a difference in the frequency of the constellations and the variety of constellations, right? So the Sparkle 5, you'll have larger points of light, but you'll have fewer points of light. Okay. And you'll have to make broader motions. So that Sparkle 5, let's just say it was a clock, you might have to turn it 2 or 3 minutes, before then you get the next constellation pattern. And then another minute or two before you get your next constellation pattern. Whereas, a Sparkle 1, you can barely turn it without it exposing a brand new constellation pattern. So whenever you turn a Sparkle 1, man, it just dazzles. Like, I mean, specks of lights just going everywhere. But they are that just that. They're these little points of light. Whereas the Sparkle 5, when you turn that, it's like chunk, chunk, chunk. They're like little spotlights hitting your eye, you know? But again, you're not going to have the variety of sparkle, but you will have um, the size of light, which is really nice. So if you were considering, how am I going to use this? Should I use a Sparkle 1 or a Sparkle 5? One of the first questions I might ask you is, well, are you going to be really close to somebody when you're using this? Or are you going to be really far away? Because if you're going to some big dance and you want to wear your osmium to dance at this dance room or this ballroom, right? Well, you would probably want a Sparkle 5. So that way, as you're moving across the room, everybody gets a shot of that osmium because it'll shoot out there, 100 feet. You can see those as about 100 feet away, like
Yeah,
points of
it'll
light.
it will grab your eye much from much further distance than a diamond. A diamond refracts light, so that means there's light that actually penetrates the diamond and passes through the diamond, therefore not reflecting back at you. Whereas with osmium, all of the light comes directly back into your eye, so it just grabs your eye from way further across the room than a diamond would.
Yeah. Yeah, come by anytime, John. We'll catch you when we do. Appreciate having you.
So,
So,
Steven,
but so now, but the Sparkle One, okay. Now, if you wanted to mount this on like a bracelet or maybe a watch, this might be really important to a watch because you want it to fall under these watch hands, right? And and any time that you're going to be like really getting a close look at the watch will be somewhere really close. So a person that's closer will get to see more of those light points as distinguished light points. And so it could be good for somebody whose wrist jogs across a desk rather than the the person twirling across the dance floor. You see the difference? He only uses little movements. This might be a good time for Sparkle One. He's always really close. You know, he wants it in a watch, or maybe she has a ring, that she wears it on, and she's always hand to hand with somebody. This would be a really good opportunity for Sparkle One.
that's funny, Osmi Safe. That's a good point you got there.
Five fingers needs five sparkle grip.
So I want to take this point here since I'm at that point on the Sparkle Grade tool here.
All right, catch us.
So we've got Sparkle Grade 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And on this Sparkle Grade 1,
You want to go
that's
big again?
okay. That's where we have come into our new information that I want to get out there tonight is that there will be no more Sparkle Grade 1 cut and brought to the market. What's cut already exists or is on the market or in someone's hand. That's all there's going to be of the Sparkle Grade 1. It just so happens I have this B because I'm the B here on this channel, and so I had a B for my channel, and it happened to be a Sparkle Grade 1. So my first osmium window guide will probably be this example that I'll keep with the B because it has all 5 sparkle grades. Now I have looked through my selection of osmium and anything that would be big enough, and the only other piece that I have that's a sparkle grade 1 is this osmium nectar here, which is a hexagon,
Oh,
and it happens to be a sparkle grade 1. It is a little bit small for my cutouts here, but I think I can get it to work. I'm going to see if I can put it in place of this B here so that there is two availabilities with the Sparkle Grade 1 to complete this full um, osmium window guide. So, but that's what I want to make people aware, and we'll a little bit later we'll jump on to the Osmium Institute, and we'll take a look at what they have available in the Sparkle Grade 1 that is yet to be sold. And mostly it's going to come down to the letters, which is kind of cool because if you're someone like me that wants an example of all 5 Sparkle grades, this is a great method of doing so. And if have a unique name you want to use, like for me it's the B, so that was easy for me. But if your name is Space Miner and you want to you know make yours unique, you could put an S for Space Miner at the beginning. Or if you're Jake's Custom Parts, you could put a J to to customize your piece. And so my original goal was to make these all squares so that they're all the same look, and you know that you're just looking through the sparkle. You're looking at the difference in sparkle grades, which we'll still be able to do. But at this point, since we're kind of out of sparkle grade 1, we can't just make them full squares now. And so the next best option is for you to customize your own set. And so, there right now we look through a lot of the letters, and a lot of them still do have a spark. And nectar, they put it into a hexagonal honeycomb. It's that's the shape of a honeycomb is in a hexagon because it's the most efficient way to stack weight. And that's what we do here at this Precious Metals channel is we stack weight. And so the best way to stack osmium weight is in the hexagon because there's no cut cost associated with it. And if you buy it from me, the B, you'll even get further discounts as you work into it with each purchase. So I've worked hard to make it available to you so that through the osmium nectar or the osmium hexagon cut, you can stack or secure as much weight as you liked and do it the most efficient way possible, which even the bees know that the most efficient way to stack weight is in a hexagon form. That's what they make their honeycombs out of. That way the honeycomb doesn't smash the comb below it, is because of that hexagonal structure makes it strong. So that's pretty much kind of covering the sparkle grades and the availabilities to come up. Again, we'll take a look at those here in a bit, but I just kind of wanted to run through that with you. So I'll bring Space Miner back up here while I go ahead, and I'm gonna swap the B, which is in Sparkle Grade 1, with this hexagon, which is also in Sparkle 1. And you see, a lot of times here in this yellow light, you can't see all the blues, but there for a second, it really was grabbing some of the blue.
Hey, put a silver coin behind it. You'll see it real quick. Like put it behind that window, a silver coin, and you'll see the blue real quick.
Yeah, a little bit. You can see the.
You got like a high luster, like a high polish silver.
There you can see some of the blue coming out of there. A high what?
A high polish silver usually shows it really well.
Yeah, somewhere. I'll bring it up here in a second when I get it set in there.
Fair enough.
So let me
Right, I can't see it.
There you go, Space Miner. You're up. What is the cost difference between Sparkle Grade 1 and Sparkle Grade 5? Again, that is one more thing that we'll be answering with this Osmium window guide
What's
is the
the price
difference
on that
in
one right there?
depths of the metal, and also the difference in value from the Sparkle Grade 1 to the Sparkle Grade 5. And you are actually seeing quite a large difference in a Sparkle Grade 1. If it's the same size 5 mil Sparkle Grade 5 to a 5 mil Sparkle Grade 1, you're going to see quite a variation in price difference. In this small of a piece, you're probably talking a couple $100 somewhere in there. Difference, that is.
Here, I'm going to jump over to the diamonds, I think, if it'll load for me.
Oh, and for those of you who are maybe can't see all of the screen, I'm running this in both vertical and in horizontal. So if you have access to a laptop and you go to my channel, you should be able to get the vertical stream as well. I just do it in horizontal for those that only have phones. But if you look around and you have a laptop, there is a horizontal, which you can see me and the full gamut of osmium in the horizontal. For the uprights phone users only, I apologize. You probably can't see me or all of the osmium. I'll work on that once I get the tool taken care of here, but yeah, that's that.
I'm going to try to answer. I have a Sparkle 5 in here, and I'm going to see if I have something. Let's see. Um, okay, well, all right, these are all right. Well, here's the difference between here can be the difference between a Sparkle 4 and a Sparkle 5. Okay. The first one, this one's showing 365. Okay. And then it goes to like 428, and those are Sparkle 4s. So you've got a difference of 365 to 428 right there in just a Sparkle 4. But then
So
you go
that's
to
like
the Sparkle
50.
5 and it goes up to like 535, which is probably an entry level Sparkle 5 in the diameter 4s.
Right. So you probably got $100 from a light 4 to a heavy 4.
In a diamond 4, that is.
And how what's your width there on that? Like
Four
what's the
millimeters.
four? So a 4 millimeter, yeah, from a light 4 millimeter to a heavy 4 millimeter, you probably almost got $100, maybe not quite, just within the range in one sparkle grade.
Yeah, but you could have, 50 to $75 difference in that. I mean, you could have $100 spread in one sparkle range. And so, but that's actually kind of like one of the things I like about it is you can kind of like you can really sort through according to like just how much you want to spend, like area over sparkle, is kind of what you're balancing most of the time with your cash, area over sparkle. And so I splurged once and I got a Sparkle 5. I wanted to know for sure what it looked like, and it's distinct and aggressive, you know.
Very
And
coarse.
the Sparkle 4, if you've never seen a Sparkle 5, a Sparkle 4 is very distinct and aggressive, you know. And a Sparkle 3 has a large range. Some of those Sparkle 3s look like Sparkle 4s, but some of those Sparkle 3s also look like Sparkle 2s. And so the one of the best ways is like really just kind of like get a gauge of the sparkle qualities between each, which again, we're trying to help with this tool. And then once you've kind of got a range, it gives you a rough idea of how the weights, and each one comes with a description, something like they might word it like strong sparkle or average sparkle or let's see,
Fine sparkle.
yeah,
Extremely fine sparkle.
like they shorthand some of these, but some of them are more like descriptive. Like if you go online, a little bit more descriptive with the sparkle, like versatile sparkle. This one says, you know, and they're right too, because like this one that I'm looking at is got like some big mountains, like a big mountain range in it, and then the stuff around it is kind of like some smaller hills. It looks kind of cool. So yeah, it's not hard to shop, especially because every piece comes with its own. Like, all you have to do is go to the identification window, and then you'll enter in its OIC. So, like, if you see it in the shopping cart, all you have to do is pull up the OIC, put it in, and you can literally look at the very piece you're going to get. And I love that. I've sorted through a few of them, been like, I think I like this one better, you know, or this one's got like a really cool feature. I'll take that. Like I got one that's got like this like center, it's like a big knob, it's like a big hill. It looks like a little volcano around a bunch of little mountains. It looks really cool. I like it a lot, so I don't sell that one.
Okay, so I'm going to have to
Um,
recut out a different gasket for the. Well, I can't get that to focus very well. For the Sparkle Grade 1 hexagon that I have here. So I'm just going to put the B in for now and work on the gasket later for that hexagon.
Brian, you won't see the vertical on a desktop if that's what you're talking about.
Well, you can though, see, because the
How?
weird thing about this streaming service, StreamYard. It's allowing me to stream in both vertical and horizontal, but it's up to the person on the other end to click on the horizontal live stream as opposed to the vertical live stream.
Oh, you can watch verticals also on desktops?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And so, but if you go to my YouTube channel and click on the live category, it'll show both the vertical and horizontal, and you can just click on the horizontal and then you'll see the horizontal.
Oh, you're back, Connect. Cool.
Yeah, it's starting to come together a little bit here, and I'm going to put the Sparkle Grade 1B in. And so, Nick,
3D.
so Nick, in for
When you're done
you,
with Nick,
if,
I'll get to
if you're
3D.
interested in one of these tools, we're just talking about the availability of the Sparkle Grade 1 not being very much out there in way of choice. However, there is a choice of letters. So while they're still there and existing, you could go get yourself an in, and then you will have that would give you the ability to have your own custom Osmium window guide for yourself. You could have an in Sparkle Grade 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 5 in a square, and then you've customized your own Osmium window guide, is what we're calling it at the moment. And that's about. Or there's also numbers. There's letters and numbers, and again, we'll go look at these here in a minute. But you can also get the numbers in a Sparkle Grade 1, but that's about all there is left for options. And so if someone wants to customize, their own Osmium window guide, you can, let us know which letter that you would like, the first letter to your name, or the first letter to your business, or the first letter that you want to identify your piece with, or number. And then that allows you to still get all 5 of the Sparkle grades within your tool. So,
Hey, B, can you highlight 3D real quick?
okay.
Says, I have the identification number on the container it came in and the number rubbed off. Now I have two the same size, but don't know which one is which. Do you have
I
like,
can give you that information because I have all the OICs that I've moved. So you
well,
probably got that
he
through
doesn't
me.
know which one is which. He's holding two in his hand.
Yeah, but if he's got one with a number in it, I can tell him what the other code is because I sold it to him. So I have that information.
Oh, gotcha. So you can fix that for him.
I
Whatever.
could fix that for him.
All right. I thought he was saying something different. I thought he was had two pieces with two bottles and both unidentified, you know.
Uh,
So if that was the case, I'd just say look at it under a microscope, put them side by side and
Yeah, and if that is like if that does happen to someone and like, they didn't buy it, you can't say you lose your OIC off of your piece, which here I'll show you guys. For those of you who don't know, here, let me move this sticker. This is what let me go full screen for a second and back out. So this is what the piece comes from normally from the, like, if you buy from me or the Osmium Institute, wherever you buy it from, often, unless you put together a Osmium window guide like we're showing today. If you order a single piece, it will most likely show up in a container like this. And down here at the bottom is your OIC, which stands for Osmium Identification Code. And all it is a code that correlates the unique fingerprint built into the Osmium to the code that they gave it for customs, to enter into the different states or different countries. So the OIC is this code right here at the bottom. That's what he's talking about, probably, that wore off. But again, that's not a big deal. If for some reason you lose your container and you lose your number, you forget what your code is, somehow you lose your code, you can simply take a high resolution picture, like with your self. If you have a new iPhone, that'll be a plenty pure picture. You get a good, pure, clear resolution picture of it, and send it to the institute, and they can let you know which piece that is just from a
Yeah,
picture.
as close and clear as you can. Macro setting if you have it, you know, but as close and clear as you can, we can do that. You can off. I had to do it the other day with two pieces,
Oh
and
yeah.
oh yeah, I was like, I mixed them. I lost my notes, and they were uh, something I had projected on. And anyways, I got them mixed up. Had to look at them. I pulled them both out. I put them down side by side, and then I pulled up one OIC. I just pulled up one of my OICs, and I found that one, which told me which one the other one was.
Right, right.
You
So
know,
so Brian, what you're saying is true, and I'm going to try to zoom in on this hexagon. One of the things I really like about these hexagons, or osmium nectar as I like to refer to them, is if you look into this, if I can get it to focus, it'll jump from being a hexagon to a box. It plays with your mind. It's like, oh, it's a hexagon. Then you're like, oh, wait, no, that's a box. So that is really cool, especially when you're looking at it in person. Um, it really does jump back and forth quite easily. It looks like, oh, it's a box. Oh no, it's a hexagon. So yeah, it kind of plays tricks on the eyeball.
yeah, that's fun stuff. Yeah, they are cool, man. They just seem to move a lot.
They do, and it seems like it's actually moving, but it's not. It's just your mind playing tricks on you.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, man, it's good to see that tool all filled up
Right?
and looking
Right.
at them all at once.
Yep.
You still setting it?
Yeah, I'm getting this B set, and then I'll get it locked down.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you use the red tip, that red tip sometimes is just not sticky enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it's such a powerful like little grabber. It's just like touch, and you're like,
And then you can't get it off. Yeah.
yeah. Like I learned that the hard way whenever I was setting my rounds. And I was putting it in there, man. It wouldn't let go of it at all, and like, so it was like the glue was pulling the osmium back while the tip was like trying to pull on it, and they finally like the glue grabbed enough, like stretched up enough to like, and it like, but it plunged it in all sideways. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, so the first one was a complete fail, and so the next one I used the red tip, and and the toothpick to back it off, and it was just right.
This one's might have to try the red tip here shortly because
Yeah, red tip with the backup.
I'm battling.
Use the red tip to place it, and then a backup to just brace it, and then pull the red tip off, and then your brace can go.
My little pointer is a pretty good tool to have as well.
Yeah, I like that pointer, man. I've seen a couple of those floating around.
Yeah, Dub C is kind of one of my proud points of pointer. He uses my.
His makes a really good sound when he taps. It's got a really good tapping sound.
Yeah, he got that from me.
Are you just trying to
I'm just centering it just so it's somewhat centered. I don't want it high or low or uncentered.
well, Brian, how do you test osmium to see if it's real? You don't really have to. One of the first things you can tell with osmium is it's blue. It's ultra dense. So, like, if it's blue and it's ultra dense and it's in a crystalline form, then it's guaranteed osmium, dude. Because it can only crystallize like that in an ultra pure state. Like 5,9's fine is where it gets to start crystallizing like that. If it's not 5,9's fine, it won't crystallize like that. So
Yeah,
like
and then
one of the first things you can do to tell that it's like legit. It's blue, it's ultra dense, and it's in a crystalline, like distinguished crystalline facets.
yeah, and then it's also logged on the database of the Osmium Institute. So the piece that you get will have a width, a length, and a depth, and you won't be able to get those length, width, depth with weight in the same package that you can your piece because it is the most dense natural occurring element known to man. So there's nothing that can forge this. You can't put anything in it because it's already the most dense substance known to man. So with once you, like he says, first thing is just, look at it, and if it's you'll be able to tell by the blue hue, and the crystalline structure. And if not, you can take the measurements and the weight and figure it out as well.
Yep.
But yeah, it's also all logged by the Osmium Institute and in their database. And so this stuff can't be forged because of all the different things we've mentioned. So
And then like most of your stigmas and XRFs are not tuned for osmium. Um,
actually, but you can if you get it
but
on the right setting, right?
yes. So it's kind of like what you do capture are the values. Okay. Cause like it's not going to say that's what it is, but it'll give you those values. But what you'll notice is it's going to be the only thing on the board. Whatever this mystery peak is, it's going to be the only thing on the board. Because it's ultra pure. But I mean, you could always send it off. I mean, we've put up some tests and some links to tests that have been performed around the world, independently verified through a couple sources. In fact, Japan wouldn't even let it in. Um, so the
Until they did a separate
yeah,
test from a different lab, and they it came back as 100%.
yeah.
So
Like, look, here's like the deal with the crystallized metals. Like that is a feat in its own. Okay, it's a feat in itself. There's only a couple metals that would crystallize in that shape, anyways. Okay, and of those metals, none of them are going to have even close to the density of osmium. And I'm telling you, it's the weirdest thing in the world when you get this little piece of metal, right? But you can still like feel it on your fingertip, like this little tiny thing. And you're like, you would never expect to like feel this, but you could just like, it's right there. It's a very strange experience handling the osmium. Um, but yeah, again, of those other metals that can crystallize, like let's say that, look, there are other metals that'll take that same style of crystal, like they kind of form the same kind of crystal structure, but none of them are going to be blue. None of them are going to be dense. And of those, uniformity is going to be an obvious feature that's lacking on other crystallized metals. Like Institute's got uniform crystal down, you know. And so, how do you prove? I mean, if you really want to get aggressive with it, I wouldn't recommend this. But to answer the question more surely, pick any acid and splash it on it. And when it doesn't dissolve, hey, there you go. Must be osmium. It meets all these other attributes. Let's splash
yeah, that is actually
some aqua regia. Let's splash some nitric. Oh,
yeah, that's actually a good point. So the way that this metal was discovered in the first place is they were putting, your other metals, gold, silver, platinum, into nitric acid or whatever acid was eating the metals, and everything liquefied except there was a couple chunks down at the bottom that they couldn't get to liquefy. Well, that was osmium and iridium, and that's how we found the element osmium, because the acids can't eat osmium. Like, not once it gets put into this crystalline form, that's another one of those boxes that it ticks that a lot of other metals don't, is that it is the most inert thing we know of. It can't be eaten by an acid or an alkaline. Either way you go on the scale, there's nothing strong enough to destroy this stuff. So from hot or cold acids, you can't destroy this stuff. So if you put an acid on it and it suddenly melts it or something, then you don't have crystalline osmium. If you put nitric acid on osmium and it just cleans it, then now you're dealing with the real thing.
It's the reality of it, though. You know, you it doesn't tone or tarnish. It's completely allergen free, and that's like medically tested and proven. You know, yeah. Here it's one of the things I really like about working with the institute is like they haven't been afraid of independent testing, and every independent test that comes is that every every person that tests this that's in charge of this independent test is astounded at the purity levels. They're
Yep.
astounded at the element, you know, and it really is that pure. In fact, we just had somebody else test this. A buddy of mine the other day. We sent in some crystallized osmium to test and have some high resolution like micron pictures taken of it, and man, it was pretty cool to see. But one thing that was sure is that's the purest osmium they've ever dealt with. I mean, that's pure osmium right there.
Yeah, where we have it labeled at least 5 nines, 5 plus. It actually is more pure than that. But when they're sending it to these other labs, they're just coming back at 100%. So,
Yeah, because most instruments aren't most people don't have access to instruments that can test that level of purity anyways. Like, look, we're talking 5 nines fine is incredibly minuscule. I mean, it's we're talking about like random atoms trying to chase down a random atom, you know, is what we're talking about, like in millions. This is literally what we're talking about at that level of purity, like atoms, like measured in I think it's like 5 to 10. Well, let's see, this like I forget what the measurable range of an atom was. No, it's like 1/10 to 10, so you call it one. You know, it's 1/10 to 10, so you call it one. And so that one atom among the millions, it's so incredibly pure. It's amazing. I'm such a nerd. This is what really got me interested in osmium in general, but crystallized osmium just took it up a whole nother level on the nerd scale, man. Like it's ultra nerd 5,000. Yeah, somebody's gonna hate me for saying that, I'm sure of it. But yeah, that's fun stuff. How do you know it's real osmium? Yeah, the quickest is show me another crystallized metal, you know, that looks like that. I mean, we see what people are selling like in the crystalline silver and stuff. When people sell the crystalline silver, crystalline gold, and we're not talking about natural formation, right? We're talking about like silver cell silver, right? It's strands and strings and tendrils, you know, it's not It's not, this monocrystalline disc that's ready to use in some piece of jewelry. It's ready to use. I can't emphasize that enough. It's one of my favorite things about it. It was just so easy to use and adapt to, and like such high value density, so pretty. I mean, when you're talking about the like how many facets, sparkle facets are on one of those discs, like on that Sparkle 5 alone, I can't even imagine how to actually have to count how many crystal facets, like reflective facets, are on that little Sparkle 1. Oh my wordy. You'd be counting just thousands and thousands and thousands of them. Canadian Mint produces a 5/9 gold coin. Yeah, 5/9 is medically scientifically pure. Okay? It's considered medically or scientifically pure. That is incredibly pure, you know. I heard somebody call it, oh, I don't remember their describing word the other day, but they were saying, anything past 3/9, is gimmick. They called it a gimmick. Anything past 3/9 is a gimmick, but that's like simply not so.
Yeah, that's not so because you even have to use 4/9 silver in medical nowadays, right? So
Right. And the incredible amount of work it takes to really get it down to a 4/9 level is it's a scientific process at this point, just to get it to 4/9. Most of your silver cell productions are, I mean, I really hate to say it, most of those are 3/9 to 4/9. Like the occasional, like a guy that's really good at doing a silver cell could probably pump out a 4/9, but 5/9 has to be done with equipment, like specified, specialized equipment. Like you're not going to just get that by melting it a bunch, you know? and and so yeah, for any like scientific or medical purpose, like he was saying, it has to meet certain, you know, purity levels. And of those, additionally, this is one of the reasons you want to jump to like 4/9 and 5/9 in your purities when it comes to that, because we're also talking about included impurities, like your included impurities, like the ones that'll just kind of like naturally exist in there anyways. Dude, sometimes those have to get scrubbed additionally from a metal. So it can be 4/9 and still have some other stuff living in it, but then you'll order a 4/9 with excluded elements, which means they'll scrub it again just to get those specific elements out. But so when these people need medical technological grade materials, they're not shopping 3/9 and refining this themselves. You know, they're they're shopping highly refined material that usually boils down to a team of guys working on, producing for an entire industry. It's crazy to see how small some of these operations are, you know, which induces like a certain sense of volatility to the market in the sense that like if there was ever like a mass consumption or a mass need, like let's say tomorrow, the government came out and said, we're doing a giant hospital stimulus and we're revamping all of our hospitals. Say bye, 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 silver and PGMs, platinum group metals. Say bye, bye, bye. Say bye, 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 rare earths off the markets. Like the type of volumes they're going to need, and they're not going to be consuming 3/9. Your 4/9 5/9 is off the shelf. Whoop, overnight. 4/9 and yeah, everything on the shelf gone like overnight. And then there's going to be a back order for refined. So there is a certain sense of extra value to this.
that's right, Brian. If you were going to make colloidal, yeah, you'd want to use a maple over an eagle for that little bit of extra refinement. Now, a lot of the 3.9s fines are actually pretty close to 4.9s, but the 4.9s they do go to quite extra processes to make sure that it is actually always above 4.9s. Steve Woods, welcome in. I'm not sure if I seen you in here or shouted you out, but thanks for coming by. Good to have you. Um, so I will adjust those. They're not quite perfectly set in there, but this is good enough for the understanding of what we're doing here.
Big
Um,
screen, big screen. I gotta see it.
let me jump us up here
It's
to a big
worth it.
screen.
It's gorgeous. It's worth it.
Look at that.
Yeah. What a showpiece, huh? Man, those headphones too. I always be thinking back to those headphones.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Oh wow, look at that 5 just choke, choke.
Right, yeah, and it doesn't jump every once in a while. Those like boom.
Yeah, show the frequency, the difference in frequency. Like
Yeah,
what I mean
so
by that.
like yeah, if you look over here on the B and how slight variation it jumps all over the place, whereas the that 5 you won't notice sparkle quite as much as the rest of these, but every once in a while it will really jump out with a large mirror finish, and that's kind of the case, and that's kind of some of the differences that you want to be aware of in these different sparkle grades, and depends on how big your piece is. If you've got a very large diameter sparkle grade 5, you're going to see some of those large points a little bit easier, but in a small piece you'd probably be almost, it'd behoove you, I guess you might say, to go with a little bit smaller of a sparkle grade, because you see more variation within those lighter sparkle grades to get more movement.
Dude, look how fast that light travels across your like B
Yeah,
and that sparkle too. Watch how fast that light just goes shoosh. It like rips like electrical current. It's like lightning through it. I love that. That's one of my favorite things about the Sparkle ones right there, man.
yeah,
It just like whips and tears across them.
indeed.
Ah, I'm gonna miss you, Sparkle One.
That's it, and that's kind of, we've talked before on my channel, especially with nickel stacking, a lot about which one, and we often talk about maybe sparkle grade 5 would be something that disappears faster and gets sought after more. But now that we're to the point where we're at, we pretty much can be sure that this sparkle. I'm already searching out sparkle grade 1s for myself and getting more of them in. So, um, sparkle grade 1 will probably be the more sought after because it's harder now to get a hold of. And it actually is quite a good piece for certain types of application, and that's again the difference in sparkle grades for different applications. And what are you using it for, and what look do you want, what are you trying to achieve, and that's where these different sparkle grades come into effect. And so yeah,
Shit,
now that we know
it's
where,
so cool to see them all together, man.
isn't it though? Like, this has been a long. I'm actually quite happy with how this thing. Now, this is just an early look at this tool. Again, this isn't the final. We will, release the final when we are complete with it and done with it, and there will be a lot more cool things about it. But to give you an overview of the general idea and a visualization of all 5 different sparkle grades side by side, um, we're showing it to you here, and to give you a chance, if you want to have something like this where you can see all the different grades side by side, it gives you a chance to still go get or reach out to me or Space Miner or any of these. In fact, that's one of the first things I'll pull up here. Any of our local institutes here, partners with the German Institute, reach out to any of us and we'll help secure you your unique piece, so that you can have a Osmium window guide, customized for you.
Yeah, and just for the record, we were looking we are running out of letters and numbers.
Yeah,
People are,
we're gonna check that next here. Kind of look through some of that stuff. I'm gonna share my. Uh-oh.
guys, people have been like challenging us, to anybody that's listening, maybe new to the conversation. We've been getting a lot of challenges to this about like liquidity. And we like to remind everybody this is new. You know, the institute being founded in 2014, it's only been released since 2017, like hitting the streets since 2017, you know, and here we are just a few years later, and we're already running out of like a whole tier of sparkle. We're
Yeah,
already suffering. We're seeing exactly what was predicted and planned the whole time. You know, that this would enter into the private market and be fully privatized precious metal, you know.
so, oh, there's a good view of the zoom in. So this is an up close picture of the osmium right here. So if you zoom way in, these are some of those peaks and valleys and pyramidal structures that we're talking about. Um, what do you call this resolution? This greenish reddish resolution photo? Do you
Oh,
high
it's a
resolution 3D or HDR? I don't know.
it's a
Anyway,
laser image. It's a laser recorded image of its topographic features represented in a color heat scale. So
so
it's pretty much they took a pic, they scanned it with a ultra high tech laser, created a 3D rendering of it, and then that's the 3D rendering of it you see with all of its,
all of
you
its
know,
different facets.
valleys.
Okay, so if you go to your web browser and you type in Osmium, you can see it on your screen right now. Osmium
Later,
Space
Brian.
Institute. And if you type in Osmium Institute, it will pull up this web page here. And if you see up at the top in the tabs, you got the home tab, and right next to it, you got the country database. If you click on the country database tab, it brings you over, and if you scroll down the page just a little ways here, it will bring you to a map. And on that map, you are going to find um, different contacts. If you're in Mexico, we got to meet that Mexico Institute partner, Catherine Barrow. She was up at the Denver Symposium where I got to wear the Osmium headphones, and a DJ said I did. But we met Catherine at that event in Denver, Colorado. So that's Catherine Barrow down in Mexico. She's an Institute partner. If you come directly up from that, you'll come to Barry Cretin. That is Barry in Texas. He is the Texas Institute partner. And then just up and to the left of that, you'll find Osmium Space. Oh, these aren't showing up for you guys. Let me click on them then. So Osmium Space, that is, of course, Space Miner, who we have with us in the chat right now. So he is located there on that dot, which is pointing to New Mexico. He also covers Arizona. And then just up and to the right of that, you have the B at LLC, Long Live Coins. That is yours truly, speaking to you now live on the mic. And then if you go up and to the left of that, you will come to Ian Everard. He's based out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and he also covers Idaho as well. And then we also have a couple people over in California. One of them is Michael Kushner. The other one is probably in the chat right now,
Which is
Mr. Nick,
we're
which is
muted.
Osmium Connect here in the chat. And then over on the East Coast, we have Arcadia Economics, and a lot of you probably know him. In fact, I am proud that up at the top of my screen, you can see that he just subscribed to my channel a few days ago. And yeah, very happy to know him. I got to meet him in New Orleans at the investment conference there. He's a great guy. I've been following his precious metal channel for, I don't know, close. Well, it wasn't when it started, but for many years. And he helped consolidate my views on the metals, silver especially, and very lucky to be working with him and know him and chat with him sometimes. So, all great people. Any of these institutes here in the States, you can reach out to any of us, and we will help put you in touch with what you are looking for.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to now go to the institute and look at some of the different options that are left for the Sparkle Grade 1. And then we'll probably wrap this one up for the night.
Coach Chris.
Yeah, Coach Chris is awesome. Go check out Arcadia Economics. He's got all the metals covered, so he knows what he's talking about over there. Okay, so I'm gonna go, share screen. And here we are. Of course, we got some osmium nectar popping up there. Now, I need to go to tangible and no products for manufacturers, and then if we come down, we will see.
Yeah.
We will.
What? No,
Uh,
go to standard shapes.
my. Hold on. You can wait for something's going on. I might have to reopen it. It's not wanting to work for me. Come on now. I'm going to have to reload it. Something went wrong.
No. So, in the meantime, if anybody in the chat's got questions, challenges, I'd be happy to field any.
Yeah, throw any questions you have in the live comment section or even comment below this live if you have any questions, and we'll love to answer them.
I like all these challenges because, the answers are easy. I just look back to platinum. What did they say about platinum? you know,
What did they
all these
say about
questions.
what did they say about platinum?
Oh, it's so rare. It's so rare and hard to find. Even if we mined it all up, we never have enough to use, and it's so difficult to process and refine, and it's so difficult to work with. What will we ever use it on? And and I don't know. It seems kind of like a gimmick, and
All right,
all that.
so
We don't have anything we could use it on. I don't know. It's brand new to the market, but we don't have a million uses for it. I wonder,
might
you know.
not be, yeah, might just, yeah, that probably just makes it a gimmick. Yeah. Okay, so if we come over here to buy Osmium, this is the Osmium Institute product page, and if you come to the products for manufacturers, scroll down a little bit, you come to standard shapes, symbols, letters, numbers, split bars. What I want to focus in on, most of it's pretty much gone everywhere, and the symbols wouldn't work anyway. I have not checked through all the symbols. You can go take a look in there to see if you can find any Sparkle Grade 1s. We're going to focus in on the letters because I know there are some Sparkle Grade 1s for the letters. And most of the letters do have Sparkle Grade 1. So here we are in the letter A, and there's actually only 2 A's available, and they're both Sparkle Grade 1. Um, if we come to the B, there are sparkle grade 2s. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of those or something, and only 3 sparkle grade 1s. So I'm just kind of pointing out that these are the last sparkle grade 1 products available for purchase. And if you want a Osmium window guide for yourself, something that shows you all the different sparkle grades in one small product, might be who of you to, get you something that, a letter that would correlate to yourself. There's a lot of sparkle grade ones in the C, but some of these do not have very many sparkle grade ones. So D, you have plenty in D. E, we have plenty in E, or not plenty, but if more than a few. But I know that some of these are just either none or only a couple. Like A only has 2. That'll be the last 2 A's. Here we have 3 letter H's. That's all there is for H. I, there is no I's available in Sparkle Grade 1. Only Sparkle Grade
Oh,
3s for the I.
I love my eyes. Oh no.
The letter J, we have about 4 letter J's or 5 there.
No,
K,
that's really sad about the eyes, though. I really like the eyes.
we have a few K's. We got plenty of L's. Looks like there's about 4 M's. 3 N's. There's a bunch of O's in Sparkle 1. I checked that. P, there is 4 P's. So like some of these, there's not very many. So kind of, if you're after a full Sparkle grade, come find your letter that correlates with what you're looking for. There's also numbers. Let's check a few of these numbers. There's plenty of zeros. Let's check the number 1s. That could almost be substituted there for your I, not quite, but there's a few number 1s. So you got some letters and you've got some numbers. And that's kind of all you really have for Sparkle Grade 1s. There's a couple pieces of osmium nectar if you can get to them before I get to them, which probably won't be very long. So yeah, if you're interested in that, secure those Sparkle Grade 1s. There's numbers 0 through 9. And let's see how many 9s there are here. There's a few 9s in one. 8. I like 8 because it can be that continual infinity loop. And we have maybe 10 8s.
That's it?
Yep. Few 7s, probably 7 7s. Maybe 10 6s or so. So there's a few of them out there in the letters and the numbers, but that's pretty much all you got left for Sparkle Grade 1. So if you're interested in that, reach out to us, find them yourself, however you would like to do it. I just wanted to come out here and show you guys that they are still available for those specific cuts. But after that, there will be no more produced. And yeah, that'll be all there is for Sparkle
Yeah,
Grade
you'll have to
1.
find them on the private market.
Yep, the rest will have to be bought from private holders, which we are working on a magazine slash other things where I don't want to get too far in the details before it's done, but we're going to have availability for people to list their pieces on an open page and let other people see what they have and if it's for sale or not, that type of thing. So that will be coming soon and available for people to look at. Here's some unique
Hey, look who
shapes.
just popped up. Ian. He says, we have some 5.9 gold maple. How about that?
Oh, sweet, cool. Yeah, so we were out of the letter I in Sparkle Grade 1. So if your name was something like Ian and you
Ian.
wanted to secure your Osmium window guide with all the sparkle grades inside, you might want to, if you have any Sparkle Grade 1 eyes, you may want to hold on to that just in case you would like to customize your own Osmium window guide. So this Raptor here is kind of a unique cut. I know someone who owned and then sold a very nice Raptor.
Yeah, the value of that raptor went up $1,000 since I saw it.
Woo!
Yeah, so sad.
So I looked through these different shapes, and actually there was no Sparkle Grade 1s, or if there was, there weren't very many. Where was there? Oh, there was a Sparkle
The
Grade
no.
1 here, but it was too big for the Sparkle Grade tool. There was 3 of these in Sparkle Grade 1, so but it's too big for the tool. But anyway, you can look around. There's the few Sparkle Grade 1s that are there is all there will be.
Well,
Except
I
for
kind of
the
want to say something real quick, if I may.
you may.
Thank you. This I think this is a good time to kind of discuss larger purchases, like when somebody's considering whether they should dabble or just like sink their teeth into something like this, right? This shortage of a Sparkle One is a perfect example of why you might want to actually consider larger discs, larger bars, larger areas, um, and the larger purchases in general. And the reason is you don't actually have to have a plan for what's going to be cut, but if you have the pieces that they need to cut these things out of, because like, look, when these letters sell out, if they don't cut any more letters up, then that's it, right? And apparently they're done cutting Sparkle One letters, right? So somebody out there is floating around with the Sparkle One disc, perhaps, and he could cut up his Sparkle One disc at any time in the future. And
Which, if anyone out there has a Sparkle Grade 1 disc, I'm interested.
yeah, like call us up. Like we have a purpose, okay? But see, that's the point. Like we already need, like, so if a guy was, if a person had the money to really consider make these kind of considerations, okay, it's not hard to get into a large enough piece that you can actually cut a whole bunch of different shapes and sizes from. You know, um, you don't have to like that raptor and decide between a raptor or a violin, right? If you have a larger piece, you can always come back to cut something specific out of it later. Like maybe an opportunity comes up with a client, or maybe you have an idea for something you want to produce, right? You can cut this up later. If you have large discs, I mean, a large disc could take care of a lot of products depending on how you cut it. These could be, you don't have to have an idea for it. You just have to trust that somebody else will, you know? And this is why capturing, a whole series of potential could be a really, really good investment. Like it had me like, looking at the discs earlier, like, man, I wonder what it would take to get for me to put together a large disc or a bar, something I could cut up later. You know? And but this shortage is exactly I wish I would have jumped in sooner on a larger piece is what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
I wish
because
I
I mean,
would
I reached, I got this tool ready, and I'm like, okay, I'll take an order of sparkle grade ones in the 5 mil squares, and they're like, okay, we'll get that done for you, and then the back and forth calls started happening, and pretty soon it was, I guess we are completely out with the availability no longer there. So what's there is there, and we're already in crunch time concerning sparkle grades.
yeah. And your next most price accessible for like your area is going to naturally be the Sparkle 2. No telling how long that'll take to get absorbed. I imagine they probably plan for a little bit of Sparkle 2, but you would hope. you know, um, but that's next up. I mean, it's the most next price affordable option, price accessible, you know. You can get a lot
Yeah,
of room for a Sparkle 2. You can get a lot of area in a Sparkle 2. So
indeed, indeed. All right. Well, I think that was a good primer on the Osmium window guide for starters. And what do you think? I think we got a
I
good
don't
jump.
know if Ian has seen it fully sparkle yet. I don't know if he saw the whole Windows sparkle.
Yeah, I don't know if he's on the road or he's. I kind of just showed it a little bit there, but I'm not sure if he's
Yeah.
watching or
Yeah.
on the road or. Bart
What was the
Cubans,
tool?
welcome into the Beehive. Good to see you. We just got done showing this Osmium window guide. It has all the different sparkle grades in. Let me go ahead and pull up. I'll do one more round of it here. So it has all of the different sparkle grades available in this particular window. And I'm going to zoom in here a bit and I'll run the light over again to give you an idea what we're looking at. And so we have all 5 sparkle grades here. And so we start with sparkle grade. Let me get my tool here. Sparkle grade 1, which is this B here. And as if you notice, the it's a fine sparkle. It's refined, kind of like a fresh snowbank. Um, a very refined sparkle, a continual sparkle. Almost no matter what angle, you're getting a lot of vibrance there.
Yeah.
Just
High
continually,
frequency.
yep, continually pops. And then over next we have the sparkle grade 2, which is still pretty fine, but it just grows in the larger and larger reflection points, reflection windows, whatever you would like to call those. And then we get into the sparkle grade 3, which is kind of your midpoint, or is your midpoint. Good place for all around. That is what I use in the um, stingers, the osmium primer inlaid into the bullets, our sparkle grade 3, the midpoint. Then we get into a little bit coarser and rougher, the sparkle grade 4, and it's a little bit larger reflection points with a few less constellations than like a sparkle grade 1. And then of course you have the sparkle grade 5, which has the largest reflection points, but you won't see quite as much dancing in the sparkle grade 5 as you will the 4 or anything less, because it's just larger refraction points. So they're depending on what application you want for your design, that will lead you into the different sparkle grade facets, and you can decide which one would be right for you. One thing I would point out about this sparkle grade 5 is when you get it down to this small area that we're looking at here, you would almost want to go with a sparkle grade 4 if you're looking for a small design with a large sparkle points or more coarse grain, because when the 5, you're not going to notice as many of the large sparkle points unless you have a larger diameter piece. When you're holding this in person in hand, the Sparkle Grade 4 almost looks like it has more large points, but I think that's because if you had a larger piece in your hand, a bigger disc, this particular piece in the Sparkle Grade 5 is kind of in a valley. So the large peaks and pyramidal structures are kind of around it, or every once in a while a big one will pop out. But again, to get that, that's that evenness. We spark with they stop at a Sparkle Grade 5. And so unless you're doing a large surface area with a Sparkle Grade 5, you'd almost might want to go with the 4 because you wouldn't notice that you're gaining that much coarseness or larger refraction points unless you have a bigger surface area to see that, because you could be kind of in the valley of that piece. So,
Yep.
Eric, go ahead.
No, I was saying reflection. You're accidentally saying refraction.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, reflect
Yeah,
there.
yeah. No, I just didn't want anybody to accidentally get confused. I know you were just slip.
Misspeaking. Yeah, there is no refraction with osmium. It's all reflection, whereas
Reflection.
with a diamond, the light will actually penetrate the diamond so it doesn't all get reflected back. Whereas with osmium, it'll grab your eye from a lot further across the room because all of the light gets reflected back at you.
Yeah, I like to refer to these graduations in crystals as frequency. Frequency and size of the size of your point of light. One high frequency, you're going to have a lot more crystals, but smaller points of light. Number five, a lot less crystals, but you know, uh, much larger points of light. Number one for real close, number five from far away, for far away. And somewhere in this range, you got to figure out, what your usage is, or just plain old go with what you like. But I really like what you were getting at with the difference between that five and that four, because with that five, you're going to have it's like a whole bunch of mountains packed in. Mountains are going to shadow other mountains, right?
Yep.
And but you really would notice, like up close, a five, it would be distinctly aggressive.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
distinctly aggressive against a four. It
And it
really is.
looks, yes, and up close, a small piece looks really gnarly in hand with maybe not quite as much reflectivity or shininess going on. But if it was a large piece, you would see that larger the gnarliness, but still get more reflection. Where you can really see all the shiny reflection with the Sparkle Grade 1 in a small piece up close. So that's kind of where you want to pay attention to that. Actually, 3D Woodworks here is saying I like the way the number 2 sparkles. And actually, yes,
Yeah.
a Sparkle Grade 2 is a beautiful, refined Sparkle Grade. I've noticed that as well. It always looks good. So
Yeah, I'm always caught in between the twos and the threes.
yeah,
Like in my purchases, I'm like, ooh, I really like those. They got nice price accessibility, but they still got, that course featuring. Um, so for me, it's a good buy-in for me.
yep,
Let Gerald says 3 to 4.
yep,
Yeah,
no,
that
yep,
core really is prominent in that pow. That it really does. I think it's got that really nice spacing between light. I think is what we're experiencing with the fours, the spacing of it. Um,
yeah, yeah. And if you were just gonna do a square ring for your finger, Gerald, I too would prefer the 4 over the 5 in this size point. If it was a little bit bigger, I might go with a 5. It's very it depends kind of on the setting, but it's very, if you're a man or it's a male setting, that 5 coarseness can be attractive, but it is quite gnarly and rough, and Whereas the Sparkle Grade 1, that really fine, refined, is almost more feminine to me, but it all kind of depends on the setting you're putting it in as well. So, but yeah, all great points. And that's just kind of what this Osmium window guide is about, is giving you those insights into the different sparkle grades and what makes them unique and why you might want one over the other. So,
Yeah. And it's again what I was saying. It's so personal. Like, when do you ever get an opportunity to shop a precious metal and it be such like like have this much selection, a whole shelf full of selection, uh, that you could like sort through and just really. There's one guy that I work with that calls me up and he's bought, and he loves. I mean, like to him, it's metaphysical. For him, it's literally metaphysical to him. That just each one is like it's coded for a person is how he views it.
sure.
And it's super important to him. it,
Yeah.
it really is to have it just right according to each person that he's going to use this for, right?
Yep.
And and that's one of his favorite parts about it is his ability to like really target or focus at like a
Each certain
particular
character.
design or mood he wants to portray, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think you see that kind of versatility and ease of use come together. Um,
In a
I
lot
don't
of
really
different
think you see
metals.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
yeah, I
mean,
agree. Yeah, and I think Gerald actually is making another good point here. He says, I just did a piece with the contrast in comparison and reaction it got next to fine cut, good clarity S1 diamond with a square 4 millimeter, just blowing the diamonds away in reflection. Yeah, again, and it actually has refraction there, but yes, reflect the osmium only reflects because there is no refraction with osmium, whereas with the diamonds there is that refraction because the light can penetrate your diamond, and therefore you lose some of that pop or reflectivity back to your eye. So
yeah,
yeah,
but you never get the white back in a diamond. You never get white light back in a diamond.
yep, you're getting it all back in the osmium. So
Hmm.
with a bit of a blue hue, which the other day I took a video of it. I haven't looked at my video like in a different setting to see if it caught the blue, but with my eye holding it right here on my lap and the regular lighting in this room, the blue as I moved the box around, it had like six different pieces I was looking at in there and just kind of moving the box around, and the blue that was popping out at me was just, I don't know, I kind of fell to a whole nother love of osmium, seeing that blue pop out at me in that light. So yeah.
Yeah, if you guys ever want to see that blue on my channel, go into my shorts, and I got a pendant um, that I made a little while back, little silver pendant and it's got like like little mini diamonds encrusted in it. But the point is it's a 5 millimeter Sparkle 4 osmium in it, osmium diamond in it, and it is so blue in that short. Oh man, I wish I could bring it up, but
And I want to thank Space Miner. We both put a lot of time and effort into this osmium window guide because we, through working with it, have discovered that we really need something that we can show people from the palm of our hand, and at first glance they can get an idea between the different sparkle grades, get an idea in their mind of what they might like best for whatever project they have in mind. And we also made it so that you can see the back of the osmium, because that's sometimes another question that gets asked, but it's just a flat kind of back, like a mirror. um, you can see the back of the B there. It's just flat and solid. There's not much sparkle there. So all the different questions, and by the time this is done, there will be even more questions answered with this tool. So thank you, Space Miner, for all your help in designing this. And we're not quite finished with it yet, but we've put a lot of time into it and effort. And I want to thank him for getting us to this point. So
Well, B, I'd like to say thank you for that, and thank you too for all that logistical support, man. You really did, that tough job of the computer in, that they what I couldn't do, that drafting,
yeah,
your drafting work and dealing with me the whole time. That must have been miserable.
that was definitely the hard part.
But you sourced it well. You sourced the parts well. You did all wonderful computer work, and we still get to look forward to more of that because we
Yep.
still got the information cell.
Yeah, we got a bit more to do there still. So
No, but we're so close. I mean, we're all the
yeah,
hard stuff's over.
yeah, we got the hard part over. It's just kind of a sizing and fitting and critiquing, but we're pretty much got it.
This wouldn't
So
have come to life without you, man. So thanks.
yep.
Appreciate it.
Yep, both ways. So awesome. Thank you very much. And everybody out in chat, thank you so much for watching. Reach out with any questions you have, that we didn't answer, that are on your mind, or you want to secure something, let us know. Reach out to us. Go over. Space Miner has his own YouTube channel. And reach out through email to Space Miner or email to me, longlivecoins@gmail.com. Space Miner, what's your email?
You could catch me at Osmium Space 5000 at gmail.com. Or you can catch me at Space Miner 5000 at gmail.com. Pretty easy. And we're going to get you guys connected with whoever we need to and get this into your hands as easily as possible so we can get this fully privatized and give you guys full control. So,
Indeed. And we will be back with more soon on probably both of our channels. So stay tuned. And with that, if you don't have anything else you want to add, Space Miner, I think I'll wrap this one up.
um, chat, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Really appreciate you guys, and you guys really do contribute and stimulate a lot of what goes on in these. So thank you. Appreciate you guys.
For sure. And throw any questions you have down below this video or on any of the rest of them. Send me an email. Happy to answer anything. And we will catch you all on the next one. Thanks, everybody.